How's it going, everyone? Nick Salzman here with Pendulum Optometrics. We've got a very special guest in the house tonight. Alicia Rose is going to talk to us a little bit about what she does, is going to connect with some of the audience that's here. Do me a favor. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and make sure you leave whatever questions or comments you have down there for us to check out. If we can't get to you tonight, we'll get to you later. But do me a favor, leave any questions or comments you have right there so we can get to you. Without further ado, I'd like to present Alicia Rose.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Alicia Rose, and I'm a white oracle, among other things. I'm super into numerology. I have a math degree. I have a lot of energetic healing abilities, so we can do some energetic transformations. And ultimately, I channel messages. And so oftentimes I can act as a telephone, like that game you were playing when a kid. You know, someone will whisper into my ear. I'll let you know what they're saying. And sometimes our spirits say things in spirit, and I'll translate into English, if you will. So sometimes there's not words for things that I'm saying, so take it with an air and use the energy. Alongside that, you might be feeling things in your body as we go through this, as we have messages, especially if you're very sensitive. So do try and breathe as much as possible. That will help with it. And you can also imagine roots coming out of your feet. Or the other one I always like to do is you can kind of rub your hands and drain down wherever, and you know, it'd be lower, but just so you can see. And you can do that while you're sitting too, whatever is most comfortable to you. So yeah, you might start to feel some of that energy settling in. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and how I got into this, but do just take some breaths while you're there. If it ever gets to be a lot, you're welcome to close your eyes. And just so you know, we have a spirit space set up over here. So if you're seeing shadows or weird energies or things like that, please know that they have been asked and are often and are, I will say, always respectful of our requests. We are in bodies. We have more power than the spirits. So if you're ever scared, you can say something like, I'm not into this. Get out of here, help, any of those things. I tend to talk in my own terminology in my own voice, and I encourage you to do so too. So just because I'm saying something, if you use different terminology, you know, say what you would say to your friend or to someone you want to get out of your house. And, but they should stay over here. If they're not, it's because we've invited them out of the corner. And it seems like I think we're just going to do that for one person today. But if there are people online who are willing to do that, remember you can give and rescind permission at any time. So everything falls under free will here, right? So if we are asking the spirits to interact, that's when they have our permission to interact with us. And if we no longer want to do that, we can just say, I rescind permission, you need to go. And I always say go home, because that's what makes sense in my life and terminology, but you can just say go away, you can say get out of here, whatever that means to you. Nick is a really good one for this. Some people will say things like going to the void or going to the light as well. But again, whatever kind of comes to you, whatever works for you, follow your intuition and trust yourself. So if something's coming up, go for it. The one thing I will caveat that with is a lot of people are changing and up-leveling right now. So if you do fall into that boat, you know, maybe for you, changing your habits is a part of it. So if you are wanting to change your habits, if you've already made some of those intentions and you notice you're falling back into old ways, remember that energetically having some sort of action to change is how that change is going to be embodied. And so you can do that. You can do it either way. It's that old saying, as above, so below, right? So you can either start by going inward, or you can start by going outward, and you're going to ultimately get to the same place, which is so cool. And so it's just kind of a preference. Generally, I go inward. That's the way I like to do it, but do what is best for you. High level, generally those that align with feminine energies are going to go be more naturally attuned to going inwards, and those aligned with more masculine energies are going to be naturally attuned to going outwards. Again, everybody's different. It's kind of like snowboarding. There's wonky feet out there. So do what feels good to you. And there's no wrong answers here. Everything is right. It's really about how you feel. And I can tell we've already got some visitors over here. So that's so fun. I want to just double check that was, oh, there's, we kind of touched on this, but there's a lot of pathways. And so know that anything that's destined for you, anything that's meant to be, you just can't mess it up. So you can take the detour, you can take the long route, or you can kind of take the shortcut. And I almost think of like chutes and ladders, you can just slide right into it quickly if you need to. Or you can, take the long route, like I said, but ultimately you're not going to miss anything. You really, you'll always be, and I will tell you, Nick and I really lean into this a lot. This is not true with everybody, but Nick and I, with us, you will always be safe in a spiritual setting. There are people out there who are seeking negative outcomes, but we're just not doing that. So since we do play in very dark waters sometimes, but we have positive intentions, and our intent is to better ourselves and up level ourselves. And so we don't play into a lot of that stuff here. So know that you're safe with us. And I think those are the big things. We're all divine beings, so trust is really important. I hope that you can trust me. If you have questions, please let me know, especially before we get into some of that deeper energetic work. I'd rather make sure that you're going into that with a positive view of it and a positive desire. I never want to push you into doing something you don't want to do. So same thing applies to the spirits as it does to me. If we're going too far, if we're talking about something you don't want to be spoken about in a group setting, just let me know and we can back off. You'll notice a little bit, my energy will tend to change with who I'm talking with. And so I grew up in Oregon. I've been here a while, but I did a reading with everything I do can be done remotely. I was talking with this woman on the East Coast, and I started talking so fast. Like, blah, 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 blah. If you've ever met me, I'm usually not a fast talker, but things like that. I might start embodying words that you use or that your spirit guides would use. And so it's really beautiful because as much as possible, I really try and bring myself out of it and be a clear channel for whatever messages are most helpful for you at that time. I think that's about it. So a little bit about how I landed here today. I think, well, I've always sort of been around the spirit realms. I used to have visitors when I was a kid. If you ever wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, what's going on? You're probably also having visitors. Maybe you just don't consciously recognize it. And when I just graduated college, my roommate at that time, her father had passed away. And I was like, I think your dad is telling me things to tell you. Like, I know this sounds weird, but like, he says he's your dad and I know things and I'm supposed to tell them to you. And then I ended up moving to Phoenix a couple months later, and I just met a guy at a bar, and we were sitting next to each other at the bar, and I was asking him about his kids. And he told me about his first child, his second child. And I go, oh, what about the third one? And I wasn't even thinking. And his mouth just jars open. He goes, how did you know about that? And I'd met this guy 20 minutes beforehand, and he had a daughter that was coming through, again, that I was still kind of learning my limits and what was physical and non-physical. And he had a daughter who had passed away after 2 days. And so we were able to do a channeling for her and really bring a lot of peace to his life and to his life moving forward. So, sometimes heavy things will come up, but do know that they're coming up to come out. And that's kind of how energy works. We're always trying to come to peace with things. So with that, this is your own journey. Do be thinking of questions if there's specific things that you want. Every so often, I'll tell you, you have a visitor. And I try to use words that we all know. So I'll say things like visitor or someone's calling on the telephone, and things like that. So, move with me. But it kind of works both ways, right? You can really think of me as an intermediary. So I think we're going to do a group centering moment just to get us into our energies, kind of calm and relax. I generally like to have both feet on the floor. That will help to root you a little bit better. And again, do what's most comfortable to you. I like to have those hands either open or maybe even down. You can start to close the eyes and take in some deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as that heart opens, you might feel the shoulders rolling back down. The spine might get a little taller, lifting in through the crown of the head. We've got a mix of energies today, so I'm going to talk you through two different options. And if one doesn't suit you, just wait for the next and continue to breathe. We're either going to be surrounding ourselves with a white diamond light, a bit of a blue tint, maybe a purple color. These energies are coming in to enhance our communication, to brighten our auras, increase our frequencies and vibrations, allow us to be more attuned. And if there's specific spirits or questions or desires or intentions, please you say those to yourself now. Anything else that comes to mind is just right. If you're open to myself, Nick, or others doing energy work on you in this setting, in this container, in this protective container, please give your permission now. This will also include any ancestors or spirit guides that you may have, and giving them not only your permission, but perhaps even an invocation to come in and to help adjust your energy, bring messages that are suited for you. Are you open to their support in any way, shape, or form? You can just say your name in your mind's eye, or say, "Yes, I am. I am ready. I am here to be of service." With that energy, I just want you to imagine it expanding throughout this room, to your friends and your family, to all of those in this little corner of the world, your city, your state or province, your country, the world, the moon, this corner of the galaxy. Expand it throughout the entire galaxy and beyond. We share an intention of love and grace and pure desire for the highest and best possible good. We're all involved, in all places and all times. Wherever you are, to all of those, we wish you well. To all those we don't know, we also wish you well. And you can use this spiraling action to move your consciousness wherever it so be. If you're open and ready for a grounding exercise, please follow my voice. And if you're not, simply continue to breathe in this celestial energy. We will begin to bring our awareness into our feet and our toes, your big toe, your big toenail, your pointer toe, middle toe, ring finger toe, and your pinky toe. Bringing the energy into your heels, across the soles of your feet. Watch it as it goes down into the earth like an anchor, connecting you here, all the way into the center of the core of the earth. You are fully planted here, this time and in this space. We're reminded that with truth brings the highest joy. His truth is reality. Whatever you choose to believe are your choices to believe. You can choose to believe something different at any time. And as it's appropriate, allow this moment to be a marker, like a stamp in the sand, a line in the sand. And if you are willing, let everything that has happened up until this point be labeled as the past. And know that as you step away from this session, from this room, and from this day, you will forever be a new person in the future, a new being, a new source of light. Whether you identify as that or not, you are a divine light, a sovereign being, all powerful, all knowing, creator. Start to take a deep breath in. Exhale the past. It's appropriate, do that 3 more times, just fully releasing what is no longer serving you, terminating and exiting a version of you that no longer exists. You might feel a new version of yourself pull into your heart, into your throat, into your mind with a fresh face. When you are ready, open your eyes, come back to the room. Just take a couple moments returning. Might want to wiggle your fingers and toes, blink the eyes open, connect here, now, today. I want to kind of open up the room and see if anyone is open to sharing, if anyone felt anything or if anything came through during that time. Give me a nod or a hand or. Okay. Well, I saw both Kuan Yin and Yogananda in the corner, and they were really speaking to me about divine love and about how imperative it is to be honest right now. You know, sometimes we kind of brush things under the rug or pretend like, oh, that's too hard. I don't want to look at that. I don't want to recognize that in some way. And each time that we do not acknowledge what is just what is, we are hindering ourselves, because until we acknowledge something for what it fully is, we are not able to change or to shift it. So no matter how dark or scary or hard something is, the minute you say, even if you don't know exactly what it is, say, I acknowledge you, I see you, I recognize that, then you are able to bring that to the light, return that to the void, or otherwise shift and change and allow that to alter. And like we spoke earlier, that can be going within and altering yourself, which is the way, again, I said I prefer things. Or that can mean going out and altering the world around you. That can be moving from where you live. That can be getting new employment. That can be shifting who you're spending time with, either friends or family or whatnot. It can be changing habits. It can be changing your diet or what you ingest. It can be just about anything under the sun, or not under the sun even. We got some celestial beings in here today as well. The other one that came through really beautifully was the Arcturians, and they're typically known for this blue light energy, that blue healing energy. And so anytime you are feeling the need to, you can ask them to come in and bathe you in this blue royal light energy, this diamond light. And that will, at very least, just freshen it up. But every so often, and again, we have that free will. So if you are open to it, you can say, yes, please do what you see fit, as it aligns, as it feels good. It takes a lot of trust, I'll tell you. So sometimes you might need to kind of stair step this. Yeah, you can, if you have a physical ailment, you can touch with that problem I have, but then you might get to a place that says, I know and I trust that you are for my highest good. And you're like, we've been working together long enough. You got free reins. You feel the need to do something, please come on in and help me out, because I know you see different things than I do. I know you have different energetic awareness than I do. So those were the three big ones. We've got, and I was about to say we've got 10 in the room, but they're like, no, we got like 30 to 40. So we got quite a few here. And I might just be picking up your energy. I heard there's a lot of brothers in the house, and we have the White Brotherhood with us as well. And they're a group that I highly appreciate. They tend to be protectors and providers. I get a lot of like eagle energy from them. They tend to fly high and make sure, especially when we're in those psychic realms, that we're protected, especially when we're in non-physical areas. All right. Anybody willing to kick us off with a question or a share or what's on their mind? We can do some mediumship if you have people who have, or pets who have passed that you want to connect with. Okay.
I say maybe not focus on
I love that. I'm into that. I'm feeling everybody, if you want, anybody and everybody's welcome to pull a card. Would you like one?
I know for me, when you talked about connecting with that third child, like I got this shooting down into my back.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, so typically your spine is going to be your energy center, like a column. Are you willing to tell us what you got?
Oh my gosh, simplify your life.
That's a good one. Yeah, sometimes we. Oh,
Anybody here feel a little sensation on their
Yes.
Anybody?
Yeah, I actually feel something right here. Not sure what it is. Right here.
I'm gonna go right behind you, okay?
But it's not there now, though, right?
Slightly?
Slightly.
Yeah.
Oh, sure,
Would you like one?
this one is good.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I'm also going to do one just for our whole group, so we can see our. Ooh.
How's this? Yes, your intuition is correct. Take action accordingly.
I like these ones a lot because they're pretty straightforward. So it's not like you need to know, read through the symbolism. There is a lot of symbolism on these cards. But yeah, you're doing great. We really appreciate you, Nick. And so thank you so much. But the ones I got for our whole group are contemplation time with make a decision. So contemplation time is a lot of just like letting the energies sit and ruminate, and make a decision is a lot about, especially like I was saying earlier, we're really in a crossroads. So if you're contemplating something, make a decision. If it's a yes, go for it. Now the time is right to really bring in new things and to go in a different direction than you have in the past. And I highly encourage you to do that. I also just wanted to thank Melissa really quickly for being our first person to talk today. So I've got little gifts back here, and I've got candles and journals, and I appreciate you kicking us off.
Time to move on. Time to let go of the old and worn out.
Love that.
And this is something that I've actually been battling with back and forth for a couple of years, related to my job.
Yeah.
I got into the tech world almost 20 years ago, and that was never really my calling, but it was more of my way to survive, like raising my kids, like
Yeah.
giving them income. And I was actually laid off from my job 2 years ago. And at that time, I was too scared to move into something new, and like go towards my passion and like do something that made me really happy and just feel joy. And I had something that happened in December of last year, and I've been on a leave since. I've been on a leave for almost a year. And through this, again, it's just been digging at me. You know, it's time to move on. It's time to do something new. It's time to help people. And I said it finally, like with confidence.
So proud of you.
Just a couple, I think like a week ago, actually, I said, yeah, I need to, when I go back, put in my notice and really pursue that happiness and that joy, and really want to help people. That's what I want to do. So this card is, it's heavy, like heavy in a good way. It's really nice to see. So
I
thank
appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that a lot, and know that energetically, if you're agreeing to it, we and the spirits can help shift your energy to give more confidence and preparedness and a clear path to the fruition of your dreams. And so, as long as you are willing and open to hold that faith and have that trust, and just keep walking forward, and as those opportunities come about, take the leap, and I promise they will catch you.
I've been working on my spirituality this last year and trying to be brave and put that faith into the spirit and talk to the spirit. And I do it a lot, like all day. I talk to the spirit. It's very comforting.
Yeah.
I would love to learn to feel more confident and follow that energy.
Yeah, a lot of it is practice, because the more that you take that risk, even if it's just a baby risk, put yourself out there, it will meet you there. And so I'm obviously here now. I'm traveling around the world. I talk to people from France to Singapore, but I will tell you, when I started out, I was going to a dinner party once, and I was going to bring flowers to it was a new invitation. I wanted to be a nice house guest. I wanted to bring flowers. Normally I would go to the grocery store near my house, and I just kept hearing, go to this other grocery store. And I was like, I don't get it, but oh, okay, we'll go to the other grocery store. I ended up having this whole long conversation with a mini reading to the florist, and it ended up being so much more than a trip to go get flowers. And that's an example of where the risk is so small. It was a different grocery store. It was on the way to where I was going. It was nothing except for just a tiny little baby shift. And now I'll follow it anywhere. I'll show up anything that happens. And I've done it enough times, but I just want you to know, wherever you're at, just take the step that feels comfortable for you. But anytime that you're hearing that intuition, and more often than not, that is going to be a consistent, quiet feeling. And if you get that, know that it is going to lead you exactly where you're supposed to be, and you can always trust it no matter what. Yeah. Yeah. And sleep tight. They're telling me they're coming to you in your dreams a lot. Yeah. So definitely breathe into that. I'm also going to give you this, write down your thoughts. What's really fun about that is that you can come back later and be like, oh, that came true. And the more that and I love this. I've got all kinds of notebooks at home. The more that you can kind of monitor, and it's not about monitoring. A lot of it is just letting your feelings out, letting what's going on out. But for me now, when I am like, oh, I'm just going to fly across the country because that sounded like a good idea. Now I can go back to my journal and be like, oh, well, when I went to the florist, that was a good idea. So like, probably going to be fine. And it can help to build that confidence to create a log of evidence. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Anything else on your mind? No, you won't. But I'm going to ask you one thing if you're open to it. Will you just say that, like, and you can put it in your own dreams and share as much as you want, but I am here and I am committed to making my dream come true. Will you say it?
I am here and I am committed.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Whew. That was a good one. Felt it. What about, how's everybody else feeling? We got some serious stuff coming in too in our corner. I think maybe, do you want to do a group clearing and releasing of what's no longer serving us?
I can definitely help with that.
Why don't you take it away? You want to
Perfect.
give us a little spotlight, Nick?
Perfect. We'll talk about it.
I love it.
All right. So thank you so much. One of the things I like working with now, you guys know I do a lot of spiritual clearings, but one of the things I've been really working with a lot is going inward. And what that's led me to is the subconscious and working with traumas that are stored there. And I can just tell by the vibe in this room, we have a lot in common. And so what we're going to address today is we're going to address the issues of abandonment, fear of abandonment, fear of not being loved, fear of being alone. It's all tied together. Okay. I'm telling you guys, I'm picking it up and I couldn't know this if I didn't experience it myself. Okay. So what we're going to do right now, this is actually way easier than you think. So there's a breath that's going to come with this. So the first thing we're going to do is learn the breath. So everybody, what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in and we're going to hold it. And then when we exhale, engaging here, we're going to go, really make that sound. It's important. And then we hold it. So we breathe in, hold, exhale, hold. This is how it's going to work like this. I'm going to snap my finger. Okay. So what we're going to do right now is I want you guys to just follow along with me. Let me see if I can clip this real quick, free up my hands a little bit. But we're just going to follow along with me. And we don't even have to know where we're going with this, but I promise you we're going to go exactly where we need to be. So go ahead and just close your eyes for a second. And I want you guys to just ask yourself, when it comes to this energy of abandonment, fear of abandonment, what is the first image that comes to your mind? That's the place where we're going to go. For me, it was my bedroom when I was a child. And that's the very first thing I saw. So that's where we're just going to be right now. So know that these things can transcend many lifetimes. But right now, we're just going to go where we need to go so we can do what we need to do. So right now, I'm going to ask universal knowledge, do I have permission to connect to the higher self of everybody here in this audience and audience online? I do. Do we have permission to send them healing energy? We do. So we're going to go ahead and proceed. And I'm going to say universal knowledge, thank you for this day and allowing us to be here as one group, as one family. And we ask at this time that we address these issues of abandonment and feeling unloved or not worthy of love. We ask at this time that we remove all pain and cure all astral lesions associated with this from all timelines, future, past, present, and parallel, known and unknown. Universal knowledge, we ask it to polarize all negative mental stimuli, neutralize all toxic emotional trauma stored in the bank of memory and energy field of everybody here in this audience and everybody online watching at this time. Universal knowledge, I ask that we send nourishing, unconditional love energy to the Christ spark of all people here watching and listening online. Allow it to make them feel full, content, and complete once again. And a little visualization I want you to look at right now. Imagine when we do this next one, I want you to imagine when we're doing the breath, like you're putting that last piece of a puzzle together, that last block fitting in the pattern, whatever you want to do, just something around those lines. I always imagine putting that last piece of the puzzle, putting it together and allowing it to be fully seen. Universal knowledge at this time, I ask that we mend all disassociated consciousness from trauma back to the consciousness block, and everybody here watching and online back to its highest, healthiest divine state. And last but not least, if any of you guys are experiencing anything in the paranormal or have experienced anything in the paranormal, understand that this part is a very strong attractant for this stuff. And don't be afraid of this, because I want you to know the only reason why it's an attractant is because they share the exact same complex. What's around us, those things that are dark, those things we don't know what they are, we know what we're talking about. These are the types of things that also share this exact same emotion and trauma, feeling forsaken, feeling forgotten, feeling betrayed. It's all right there. So just understand when they're here, and if you think about it, you can invite them here and ask them to stay with me, because I'm going to be able to help them on my own after you guys leave. But I just want them to know, because they're listening, that they're invited here and they can stay here with me, and I will absolutely help them. Let's go ahead and invite them here now with the breath. You guys just rock that. That was awesome. Do yourself a favor, take a couple breaths to yourself, kind of gather your wits. I don't know about you guys, but you got me sweating right now. So thank you so much for doing that, you guys. It's small and it's minuscule, but the little things lead to much bigger things. And this might even come later. If you guys are looking for that clarity, the mental clarity, some of you guys want to learn how to be more clairvoyant or more intuitive or any of that kind of stuff. This is the stuff that holds us back from being that way. So as long as we're able to be honest with ourselves and just know that at the end of the day, I can't know anything about you. I don't know your deepest, darkest secret unless we have the exact same one. We're connected, you guys.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Nick.
Go ahead.
I'm going to kind of keep going, but if you have questions or comments or want to speak about your experience, please get my attention and we'll prioritize time for you all to share. That really reminded me of a lot of things about when I was a kid. And I think there's a lot of kids out there that know something is happening, but don't have other people who know what's going on that they can talk to sometimes. And I remember being a kid and seeing all kinds of stuff. And I'd tell my parents, I'd tell my sister, and everyone was like, what are you talking about? And so if you see things, oftentimes when I was younger, I made words up for them. And so I had Mr. Blueberries because he was fat and blue. I had Mr. Flowers because he hung out. I had these flower curtains and he was always in the flower curtains, and I called him Mr. Flowers. And started naming what I was seeing based on what it looked like. And it reminds me of, I guess, some of my bloodline heritage in Scandinavia. They name things after where it's going. So what's on Church Road? It's the church. Airport Road, the airport. And so you don't necessarily have to have names for things, and putting titles to them can be very helpful, especially if you're wanting to direct them to come back later on or go away or take a break. Know that you can say things like, this isn't a good time right now. Waking me up at 3 a.m., not a good time right now. We'd much rather make an appointment with you at 2 o'clock in the garden. I will be there. I will talk to you all that you like. 2 o'clock in the garden is your appointment. And you can really direct and shift energy, and you are much more powerful. I think oftentimes in our neck of the woods, but across the world and beyond, we're told about how we don't have a lot of power, and you really are so much more powerful to direct and shift and create than we are conditioned to believe. and allow yourself to choose. Not only choose what you want to do, but choose what you want to believe. I do things all the time. Someone tells me something, I'm like, it's your belief, not mine. I don't believe that. And that's really helpful because it can allow you the ability to create a different set of rules that you live your life by. I live a life where I'm lucky. I live a life where I'm abundant, where I'm loved, where things go really well for me. I live a life where I'm always on time, even if I'm late, right on time. Yeah. No, most recently, it was 3 weeks ago. I went to the airport. I was sitting there writing in my journal, doing my thing, connecting with the spirits. I was like, oh, I'm just waiting for my flight. Look up and I'm like, this is supposed to be boarding and I feel like there should be more people here. I was at the wrong gate completely. And so I got up real quick and I walked my butt down to the other gate and the guy's there. He goes, are you Alicia? I'm like, yes, sir, I am. And he goes, get on this plane, girl. It's right now. I was like, great, I'm here right on time. You might not be early, but you are on time. And that's what counts.
Did everybody start clapping when you walked on the plane too?
No, I was so grateful. There was one other person who was after me, which is kind of what I shoot for. I don't want to be the last person, but I don't want to be sitting there too long either. And that's how I like it. Maybe you like to be the early bird, so you can pick out the seat you want. I don't care. I'll sit in the middle. It's fine. Fine with me. But you can truly decide what you want. And as you start to expand this, I'm just going to share some stories, I think.
I like it.
As you start to expand this, you can usually, where I started was deciding what I didn't want to do. And I remember I was in high school and I was like, don't want to be here anymore. I felt like if I stayed in Oregon, I was forever going to be in Oregon. And that's my whole family. Everybody in my family went to Southern Oregon. Love them. It's beautiful. So great. Aunts and uncles, all the cousins, everybody. I was like, I don't know. So somehow I got a financial aid deal. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll take that. Thank you. And then I was graduating college and same thing. I was like, I just don't want to live with my parents. I don't want to be that kid that went and moved in with their parents again. And I ended up getting offered a job before I even left college, before I even graduated. Some guy offered me a job. And so I went and took that. And then I moved to a new city. So I didn't really know anybody. I got really into yoga and I just thought it would be a fun thing to try out, honestly. So that took me to Southern California a lot, to Sedona a lot. Went around the Southwest and kept having these experiences. And I was walking around in the wilderness outside of Sedona. And one day I walked in and there was this lady and she had a big spoon and she was about to hit me with it. and I just remember going, no, please, I'm sorry, I'm lost. I didn't mean to be here. And I looked down and there were these ruins. I was in her kitchen, it looked like. And she told me real quick I was not supposed to be there. And I said, yes, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I'm not supposed to be here. And I was like, please, could I just leave? And she was like, get out. And then I started doing the moonwalk away. She was cool with that. And she let me go. Sometimes you can get yourself in sticky positions. And that's where if you show up and if you have positive intentions, those will be met with positive results. And so just like I said, when I was younger, I really was operating on a respect of what I didn't want to do. And now I have enough confidence to operate on a respect of what do I want to do. And I create that instead. Because the truth of the matter is that whether it is conscious or unconscious, you are always manifesting, you are always creating, and you are already cooking up what happens tomorrow and the next day and the next year and the next life and around the freaking world. People forget how much power they have. And when we all sit together and have similar intentions, that's where we can have even bigger impacts. We can have impacts across the world. We can have impacts into our brethren in space, in other places, in other dimensions, in other realities. And if you're willing to, I would invite you, encourage you, and request that you intentionally decide to live your best life, to do what's in your heart, and to feel as good as you possibly can, because that inherently gives everyone else around you the permission to do that as well. And then all of a sudden, if we're all doing that, I mean, it just goes great, let me tell you. And yeah, I think that's a good stop, a pausing point. I'll open it up. Did that spark any thoughts, any comments? Would you like to? I can't tell if that's a yes or a no.
I'm undecided.
Okay.
You know what? We'll just see what I say. I'm not quite sure.
And questions are okay too.
Okay.
If you want to rib me, if you want to ask me questions, if you want to tell me to prove it, I'm happy to do.
Oh no. Can you talk a little bit or expand upon the like transmutation of energy and moving energy
Yes.
for the greatest good?
Yes, completely. I'm going to give you a quick 4-step process. And we're just going to give you some more cards too to contemplate while you're here for yourself. So quick 4-step manifestation process. And again, like I said, a lot of mine were based on, I have a problem. My intention is to fix that problem. That is great. Or you can basically just decide what you want. I want to go to France. I want to be super healthy. I want to help other people. I want to be very honest. I want to surround myself with people who challenge me and encourage me to be my best self, right? It can be literally anything. Choose what you want. Part of the trick to this step is you got to mean it. You got to mean it in your body. So it's not choosing what your parents want you to do. It's not choosing what society wants you to do. It's choosing what you want to do. And that sometimes takes a little bit more than we realize, because a lot of people have a lot of conditioning. A lot of people have a lot of programming. A lot of people have a lot of people and words in the back of their brain that says, you can't do that. And so once you fully decide, then kind of figure out what it looks like. You know, if you want to own a business, how much money do you want to make every year? How many clients do you want to have? Do you want to have one thing you specialize in? Do you want to do a bunch of things? What do you want it to look like? Do you want to work from home? Do you want to go in someplace? You know, all the things. And then you kind of just let that dream go and forget about it. And I want you to imagine it like if you were sending a letter to the dream gods. Hey, please bring me my dream. You have to mail that letter and send it away. If you hold on to the letter, it will never be received, right? So you genuinely have to let it go energetically. And then effectively just have a lot of faith that it was heard, received, and is coming back to you. Here's where what I like to call aligned action. There's different terms for it. I like aligned action because it makes sense to me. That means that as an opportunity comes up, you say, yes, please and thank you. So let's say you want to be a superstar musician or something. Well, if you get the tiniest little gig in the corner bar in your one stoplight town, I want you to say, yes, please and thank you. Right? Because the likelihood that you are going to wake up and meet Katy Perry or some record exec and they're going to be like, hey, I don't know you, but I'd really like you to be the next Mick Jagger. Like, might be a bit of a stretch, right? So that aligned action says that you are going to show up with the energy as if it's already done, right? You are going to be speaking to or singing to 10 people as if you were singing to a whole stadium of people. And that signals to the collective that you mean it, right? It says, I mean it. I'm showing up like it is done. You heard my request. This is the step. I'm taking it. We're going. We're on it. And then you just continue to follow that energy until it's done. And if you like, I can give you another example, because I like this example a lot. I was in college and I was in LA, and we were in this square. It was a class trip. And I remember looking up, there's this beautiful hotel. And I was just like, oh, love to stay there. That looks so pretty. And I really liked historic architecture, all the things. And then I just went back to school and did my thing for about 6 years. So like not a short amount of time. And by this time I started working for another company and I traveled quite a bit. And I was asked to go to this conference in LA, which was not that unusual. And I'm like, cool, let's go. I'm sitting in the conference room, talking about transportation and all the things. And I was getting antsy and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go walk around and take a coffee break. And I'm walking around the block and I get to this square and I look up and I realize I've been staying for 6 days in the hotel that I had said years ahead of time, wouldn't that be cool if? And like, that's what I want you to embody, is anytime that you're walking around and just think of the world like a menu. Like sometimes we get so competitive and so downtrodden on ourselves. We're like, oh, Felicia, what? And I want you to go like, oh, I like that. Yes, please. I'll take that. I'll take that. Wouldn't that be cool? Love it. Give me more. Right? And that kind of energy. And then once you say that, just let it go. Know that it was heard and know that it's coming back to you in the easiest time frame. Because if you start to think about the number of things that had to line up for that to happen, it wasn't my next job out of college that I got that. It was 2 jobs later. Some conference not only decided to be in LA, but that they were going to book that hotel. The company I was working for decided to send me on an all expenses paid trip there. And it's like all these things had to line up for that to happen. And to think about that logically, I'm a logical person. I'm a math person. That is likely impossible unless you start to bring in that factor that little Alicia said that she wanted that to happen. And I, from that perspective, am the creator that was like, hey, this would be cool. Let's do that. Let's do that. And I want you to embody that. Have that be your new mantra. Let's do that. Let's be that. Let's look like that. Let's feel like that. And one of the biggest tricks is if you can feel like it's already done. And that's where, if you talk to a lot of athletes, if you talk to anybody, they'll talk about visualization. And the more you can just see yourself wherever it is that you want to be and really feel that in your body, right? And so at some point along the way, I thought, what's it like to stand up in front of people and talk to them? You know, what is it like to be able to know things that people never told you? What is it like to be right on time all the time? Let me tell you, that used to be a big problem for me. Like, that's why I started saying that. And so know that it can go either way. Does that help? Yeah, I dig it. But yeah, high level, decide what you want. You're basically sending prayers. Visualize it. Say yes when it shows up. Yeah. I think, how are we, time check? How are we doing on time?
Doing okay.
Okay.
We'll have a online question.
Oh, I think it's time. Hello.
So this online question actually comes from Deidre Davis. This is my mom.
Oh,
chiming in right
thank
now.
you.
So
Thank you for joining us.
She would like to know, walking into a room, let me see this. When you are met with resistance and walking into a room, do you not listen and walk into it, or do you walk away from it?
Yes, this is a good question. This is a nuanced question. So kind of playing off the manifestation question we had earlier, if you are feeling like, and I ask myself this a lot, is this the highest and best possible good for me? Is this the right thing to do? Am I where I'm supposed to be? Because typically that's one of 2 things. One, you are in the midst of a major up level and you're taking that aligned action to move into a different, what I would call a different reality, a different parallel space. And from that case, I want you to think of it like the world, the universe, spirit, God, whatever term for source you like to use, is saying, are you sure? Are you sure? Because the minute that you have that resistance and it's the question, are you sure? That's when you're like, oh yeah, I'm sure. Like, and it would be the same example earlier we talked with singers, right? If someone offers you a gig at a small bar and all of a sudden something goes wrong and you're like, I've got to figure it out. And if you think of it like the universe is saying, are you sure? And it ends up going well, because literally if you just like keep going with it. And I want to tell you, when I got a job out of college, I told a little bit about that. I had moved all my things, everything to Phoenix. I didn't live there. And I was supposed to start work on a Monday. And on Friday, the HR lady called me and she goes, are you working here? And I was like, I just moved across the country for this and I'm moving in today. And so I like, my gut dropped, right? And I was like, yeah. And I was like 22 at this time. So I was pretty insecure. And I was like, yes, is that okay? And she's like, oh yeah, we just wanted to make sure, because the HR lady who was processing it apparently had quit. And so they had no record. They didn't know if I was coming in on Monday. And it sounded like she was heading home for the day and something came up and she checked. Right. And so if I had gotten that call and been like, oh no, it's okay, I don't need to work there, it's fine. Right. I would have just figured it out and gone back to Oregon or something. That's an example of the are you sure? Right. And so if that's happening, it's important. Now, the other hand of that is when you are unaligned and you are someplace you're not supposed to be. And every time you meet that, it is met with more resistance. And so if that happened, and then my car broke down when I was trying to get there, and then I started walking and someone ran over me, and that's a you're not supposed to be there example. And a lot of times it doesn't matter, and we are creating resistance that isn't truly there. And so think of it too as your own energy. If you show up with low confidence or negative self-esteem in some way, and you say that I'm going to do a terrible job, everybody hates me, this is going to suck, I'm going to have a really hard day, and I'm just going to quit and go home anyway. That's probably going to happen. But if you pull in that energy and that visualization that says, it's going to work out for me perfectly, there is a path for me, the divine is on my side, and I'm going to be exactly where I'm supposed to be. And if this isn't it, I'm going to be led there in perfect timing. You will always get exactly where you're supposed to be in perfect timing. And the best part about that is that if you just believe that things are going well for you, you don't even have to know what that looks like. And no part of me did I start as a kid and be like, oh, I'm going to go be a white oracle. That sounds cool. But here I am. And this is the right path for me. And I know that now. But there were a lot of times when I was younger and I was hearing voices and I was like, this is weird. They're going to send me to the loony bin. And then it doesn't matter if I go to college because I'm going to be trapped in a mental hospital. And I had to get over that, right? I had to get over that. I had to learn through that. So high level, to answer your question, if it's that are you sure side of things, it's going to very easily be resolved. And that's oftentimes when you're going through portals, you're up leveling. There's all different kinds of words for this, but in some way, your life is entirely altering and I like to think of it like a pancake flipping over or a coin flipping over. Like everything is going to be new after that. And I've done this enough times where I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but now I've done it enough times, I know what that feels like. And it feels like you're breathing fresher air. It feels like things are different and nothing can change. You can be living in the same place, you can be working the same job. It can be completely energetic before you see it outwards. And that's where that first step of deciding is so important. Because the minute you decide, you have created a whole new pathway. and you have created the possibility for an entirely different fork in the road to exist. And you can do this again and again and again too. So if you are like, oh, I tried that out, now I want to try something else out, do it. Right? There's nothing that ever says you have to stay where you're at. And if anything, I would encourage you to change as much as you can. There's always a way, and you can shift out that word change for grow. And if you recognize that growth comes through change and you fully commit to changing every single change you do or act or be, then inherently is you growing on a path to your highest and best possible good, if that is your intention. And that's my goal for all of humanity, to have your highest and best possible good be your intention and have that be whatever it means to you. So I know I went on a tangent there. I think I answered the question.
She said thank you.
Thank you so much, DJ. We really appreciate you. And do know I've got a little prize for you for Nick to pass on if he's willing.
Oh, I will.
And I had a feeling.
No
Thank you.
So where we stand right now, we are at 1 hour. And so at this point, if you guys have anything else that you want to share here, we can make it happen, or we can go ahead and cut the live feed. And if you guys want to hang out for a couple minutes and talk, you can do that, or, but I think feeling the vibe of the room, I can see you guys are really relaxed, and I think we're able to address some stuff and hopefully connect some of these dots for you guys. So yeah, other than that, does anybody here have any questions for Alicia?
Okay, so I want to address my card.
Yeah.
Because I've always been the helpful person,
Yes.
and I'm always the one to help others.
Yep.
So on the card it says someone wants to help you. Think of whom that might be, and initiate contact.
It is me. I am here to help you. You have a whole lot of other people here to help you. You have so many spirits around you, and you have a deep connection to what I would call ancestors, and I use that broadly. Some people will call them spirit guides. Sometimes that really is auntie whoever. And I want you to know that you not only have spirit guides helping you at a high level, but they are sending you real physical people like me to help you. And if I can, I'll share a story with you. Okay. So I was living in Arizona. I think you guys picked that up by now. And my car broke down in the middle of the desert. And it was like spirit pulled me off into a rest area, and it's blown up. I don't know a ton about cars. I'm like 22 again, like, this is a problem. So what do? You ask for help with your problems. These two wonderful men stopped by, and they looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, so you live in the state, you don't know anybody, you have no family here, you decide to drive into the desert like a person who, I'm not going to use other words right now, not the best idea, let me tell you that. And this guy's so nice. They got my car started, and they're kind of like, girl, what are you doing? And I was like, yeah, I know, hindsight 2020. So they say they're driving to the same town I'm going to, about an hour away. Guy gives me his card, and he says to call him if anything else happens, which was not only so above and beyond nice, but my radiator had overheated. So he says, wait about 20 minutes, put some water in it, start the car. Got to wait for it to cool down. So I'm just chilling, twiddling my thumbs. I'm flipping this card around. Finally, I look at it. This guy's name was Jesus. Jesus showed up and got my car running. And the likelihood that someone was so kind, someone was there, and they had the name of an ascended master is out of the blue. And so just know that spirit will come to you, and you might not show up and be like, oh, that's the divine, here to save the day. But every time someone shows up and says, hey, can I help you with that? Hey, like, how about this? That's where in our manifestation process, yes, please, and thank you. That would be so helpful right now. I appreciate you being here. And this is where this idea of gratitude practice comes in. To really up-level this, the more that you can say, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. And some days I'm grateful for jewelry and crystals and fun trips and new jobs and new clients and all the things. And some days I'm grateful that the lights are on. There's food in the fridge. I'm warm. I have feet. I have all my limbs. I have clothes on. I like the clothes I'm wearing. You know, there's this is a spectrum. And so if you're ever feeling in any kind of low point, just look around. I'm grateful for the sky and the earth and the stars. I'm grateful for the spirits around me. And Nick talked so much earlier about clearing and cleansing and being in some of those darker spaces. And it's bittersweet to those who are watching this here or otherwise. You know, a lot of the people who have skills like this, they have them because for whatever reason, it was helpful to develop a natural ability to communicate with spirit. And the flip side of that coin is you're probably in a bad situation where you needed help. And what came out of that is the most beautiful gift. And if you can put more attention into the gifts that you have than the junk that you came from, those gifts that you have, the blessings you have, anywhere on that spectrum, whatever you're grateful for that day is going to grow. And I want you to think of, in your manifestation efforts, currency. Currency is money. It's where you put your money. It's where you put your energy. It's where you put your attention. It's where you put your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions. It's where you put anything. And if you can continue to feed where you want to grow, and this is where there's that balance. Something bad happens and oh my God, it's going to get worse, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm just going to get kicked out and then I'm going to die and none of it matters anyway. I better go sit in the corner and feel bad for myself, right? No, are you going to stand up here and be like, this sucks, right? We talked about acknowledgement a little bit. Yeah, this sucks. I could use a job. I could use dinner. I could use a warm house. I could use whatever it is, right? And if you can say, this is my problem, Spirit, please come help me with it. Help me with it quickly. Help me with it easily. Help me with it free. I don't have a lot of money, but I have a lot of prayers. Right? Like you can really, yeah, and I will say too, across the board, don't give them a lot of limitations. I need help. Please help me. I'm open to receiving help. I'm open to accepting help. Help is on my side. All the spirits are on my side. Everyone in this room is on my side. Everybody in this world is on my side. People who are otherworldly are on my side, right? Because if you then allow it to come however it is most easily orchestrated, 6 years down the line, honey, you are going to be a millionaire somewhere staying in the nicest hotel. You know? Just give it some time. Give it some time. That help? Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts or any other questions?
Oh, I have tons, but yeah, no, I don't want to take from anybody else. And Nick has actually helped me out with clearing.
He's real
a few
good.
times. My girls are, the youngest one is definitely into
Yeah. And I'll just leave you too. You know, Nick and I have been on this journey a while. We've got a lot of knowledge between the two of us. And I know there's a lot of knowledge in this room too. But you can speak exactly where you're at. So remember, and I'm guessing it's the same for you, I was a 4-year-old kid doing this stuff. I just didn't know I was doing it. And so say the things that mean it for you. Hey, what's that? That's Mr. Blueberry. You know, hey, that's a problem. I'd like some help with that. You know, hey, this is going really well. I'd love more of that, right? None of these are complex terms. And if you start to think of energy like electricity or water and just start learning things about it, right? If a light is shining, it's going to shine everywhere in the room. Just get one light, one candle, one little tiny spark, and you'll illuminate everything. Water flows downhill. You got junky stuff? Clear it out. Let it flow downhill into the ground, right? This stuff is, we can get very complex with it, but at the end of the day, if you just say, I'm calling you in to help me. Here's my problem. Please help. It's that easy. Yeah. Speak about it in your terms. Yeah, and remember too, that's divine rule number 1. You're in charge. You're the creator. You're all powerful. If you don't like something, tell it to get out. Not in my space, not in my house. Right? You're doing great. And may I share another message coming through for you? Got some ancestors in the room. So I'm turning into telephone, Miss Telephone here. They're really encouraging you to ground your energies, and especially ground your energies for your household. And so and again, that can be as easy as the energies in my household are grounded now. Let it be done. It is done. Right? This is where people can do all kinds of things where we're putting rocks in the corners and getting fancy whatnot. Your voice is your most powerful tool. Your thoughts, your emotions, more powerful than anything you can buy. Ever. All the time. It's really clear that you are acting as a matriarch, and a lot of people are following your lead. And you do a very good job of keeping face, I'll say. But do know that you can, and it sounds like it's your children, but you can bring other people who are looking to you for guidance in on this. Hey, honey, this isn't going really well right now, but it's okay. We're going to pray together, and we're going to know that spirit is going to come help us. And so we just need to keep our thoughts high and light and know that it's coming. Laughter is one of the best, you hear that, one of the best medicines. But anytime you start laughing, anytime you start playing, anytime you start having fun, it is going to clear up any resistance for you naturally. Any resistance in your body, in your thoughts, in your mind, in your emotions are naturally going to be cleared if you can get people laughing. And so if something's happening, you don't even have to have a conversation with people. Just get your kids playing, get them laughing, have them go outside. Hey, go climb that tree, run around in the grass. Isn't that fun? You know, it's fall time, jumping in leaves, jumping in puddles. So much fun, right? Keep them out of the streets, but you know, there's a lot of fun to be had. There's a lot of cars there. You can get run over. It's not good. Yeah, do you have any, and the answer no is okay to this, but do you have any specific questions? It seems like there's something on your heart that they're wanting to help you with. And so even if you just want to say that mentally, know that they are hearing you. And that's a big reminder too. They're always hearing you. And so if help isn't coming, if something isn't being manifested, you are your own barrier. And this goes back to Deirdre's question as well. Something isn't working out, you're your own barrier. And oftentimes that means you don't believe it can happen, or you think that something bad is going to happen. If that happens, the other shoe is going to drop. We hear that a lot. An example I'll give you is sometimes people don't want to bring wealth in because they think rich people are, you can finish that sentence, rich people are rude, rich people are selfish, rich people are but the fact of the matter is I could give anyone in this room 100 grand and I know you do great things with it. And so know that there's so much more abundance, and not just abundance of money. I like to talk about money because it's quantifiable, or the number of crystals, if you will. Know that that can come in people who are going to help you, that can come in terms of energetic support, that can come in terms of ways you never even thought were possible. And sometimes when I'm having bad days, I am simply grateful for the problems I don't have. And if you can just figure out how to reconnect with that gratitude, how to reconnect with that laughter, it is always available to you. And that is just the getting the wheels turning for all that other stuff to come in and support you. Right? That's permission is going to be big for you. Saying you have my permission to intervene. Because that can be scary. That can be really scary to allow. And when I talk about others, to allow spirit too, right? It can be scary to be uncertain and unknowing. And that's where kind of the baby stepping again will be helpful. Go to the florist before you go across the country, right? Go to the dive bar before you go to the Moda Center. Is that fair? Okay.
I think that's some pretty solid advice. Gratitude is everything, you guys. Finding that moment of the day that you chase every day. For me, it sounds ridiculous, but when I decided to take on that gratitude, I loved, for whatever it is, I'd wake up an hour before my whole family did. I'd make a cup of coffee and I'd go outside, and something about the cold, crisp air and that hot cup of coffee, I freaking loved it. I loved it so much that, I said, you know what? Thank you for this moment. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to enjoy this coffee in this body. Sometimes that sun will come up and I get hit in the face with the sun rays. Thank you for that sunlight. I appreciate it. Just thank you for this moment. So, this is where the art is, where you're finding that silver lining. If you can put yourself in a position to just say thank you for something once a day, twice a day, this is what's going to really start making things open up and start changing. Gratitude and unconditional love is like the currency of the spirit world. So if you're willing to put that out there, they are going to match your vibration by giving you things to be thankful for and giving you opportunities that are going to give you fulfillment. And believe it is a ripple effect. And once you're open to that, it becomes more like a waterfall. So, I really appreciate people being vulnerable and being able to speak about some stuff today and even asking some questions. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but Alicia's pretty cool, huh?
Thank you.
Pretty cool.
I
But
was born this way.
we're at about an hour and 15 right now. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to cut the live feed, and I'm going to turn the lights on, and then we're just going to kind of hang out for a minute. And if you guys have any other questions, I know Alicia has I'll let her talk about it, but she has like an email sign up list and stuff.
Yeah.
She has a website, has her own social media outlets. I suggest you guys all connect with it. I'm going to put all that information in the comments section once this video uploads and stuff. So usually it takes a little bit for a live feed to upload. So you might not see it tonight, but you'll see it tomorrow for sure. So just know that even if you don't have time to stick around and talk and you still want all the information, it's going to be available. So it'll just be in the comment section. Just go to my YouTube channel, Nick Salzman 5850, and it'll be in there in the live section. If you're looking, they'll have the videos. Click on the live section because that's where this is. Cool? Good? Thank you.
Thank you. This
It's a
has
good
been
time.
an absolute blessing.
Oh, yeah. Likewise. Let's give her a hand, you guys.
I appreciate you all for coming. And everybody watching online too. Hi, Deirdre. Yeah, I think maybe a group centering breath of gratitude. Is everybody into that? So if you're ready and if you're however really letting that come into you, you can close the eyes, start to take those deep breaths in through the nose and out